Hello everybody, my name is Aiden and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a Chicago Bulls weekly video to provide for you guys ahead of our, upcoming week, which is actually a very light week and, discussing our very, very bad previous week. 2 previous weeks for the Chicago Bulls have been very, very bad. What can we do in this episode of Bulls Weekly? Can we predict that the Bulls can go in a positive direction? Before we get any further, if you like the video and you want to see more from me, drop a like, drop a follow, and or subscribe if you are new, and comment down below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls there. Obviously, previous week, the rewards that will be given out, and the upcoming week as well. Now, without further ado, let's get started, ladies and gentlemen. First things first, the Chicago Bulls had 4 previous games last week, and we ended up going 1-3, and it's absolutely disappointing how we went 1-3. I predicted a 2-2 week for the Chicago Bulls. That did not come to be. We started the week off against the Indiana Pacers and we won this game 112-105. By far the Bulls' best performance of the season. We did really, really well defensively. We stopped the pace of the Indiana Pacers and we ended up hitting them where it hurts. They failed to hit their threes. They struggled from the field. The Bulls ended up picking up a win based on their defense alone, I would say. Then we versed the Dallas Mavericks, and we came close in this game. It was a close competitive game, but we ultimately did lose by 114-105. This was more of a game where the role players got into the game, and there was threes galore for guys like Derrick Jones Jr., Grant Williams, and Luka Doncic, and all these other guys, even a guy like Jaden Hardy and stuff like that. All those guys got really open threes and really were able to knock them down. Tim Hardaway Jr. was another one. So, again, so many of their role players stepped up for the Dallas Mavericks as we tried to shut down Luka. We did a good job on Luka, but at the end of the day, that's what having a supporting cast is all about, where you can lock down the superstar, or you can at least make him have an off night, at least. He had 18 points on the night, but it was an off night for Luka Doncic. The supporting cast took over, stepped up, and delivered big points. And in the end, that is why Dallas are where they are at the moment, having good games and good performances. Then we versed the Brooklyn Nets in an in-season tournament game where we lost 109-107, our very first in-season tournament game against the Brooklyn Nets at our home turf, the beautiful court, the very bad City Edition jerseys, and everything in between. But the most important thing about that game was that Brooklyn had half of their team out, including one of their best defenders and their center in Nick Claxton. And at the end of the day, we still fell to the Brooklyn Nets. What was the key thing in that game? Well, to be fair, the key thing was we did not stop the Brooklyn Nets pace. They ended up getting a lot of easier layups in the first half. They attacked the paint heavily in the first half. And because of that confidence, they extended it to the three-point line in the third and fourth quarters and did it effectively. They closed out the game effectively, and the Bulls simply did not execute in the final stretches of that game. And then this previous game against the Denver Nuggets, we got absolutely clapped in the second half, 123-101. Extremely poor performance from the Chicago Bulls. Not one single thing we did right in that second half. It was horrible to watch. Second night of a back-to-back. Both teams had a second night of a back-to-back. Miserable. Genuinely miserable to watch. Frustration. Again, in the watch along, we were talking about Fred Hoiberg being a better coach. We were talking about Thibodeau. We were talking about everything except the game. Because let's be honest, who wanted to watch the Bulls get blown out in this way if you're a Bulls fan? And no one really wanted to watch it. So, again, it's just one of those things where, hey, talk about something else. Let's take the pain away in many ways. And that's what the second half of that game against Denver felt like. So, miserable from the Chicago Bulls. Our overall record, I believe, now is 2-5, which is not terrible. It's still, again, a record we can come back from. But in order to come back from a record like this, you actually have to have good performances. And I'm not going to lie, out of all the games we played, the 7 games that we played, I really only see one good performance, and that was against the Indiana Pacers. Every other game, I don't see good performances from this Bulls team, especially on the offensive end. So that's very disappointing. But again, just to be fair to everybody, we will continue to give the awards out for the Chicago Bulls players. We have the Must Improve, the Sixth Man of the Week, the Defensive Player of the Week, and the Player of the Week in general. We'll start off with the Must Improve. That's tough. I mean, Patrick Williams had 2 good games this week in the end, but he also had a 0-point performance. everybody else kind of had bad, inconsistent performances. I still think I would pick Patrick Williams because, again, when he started in those games, the first 2 games, he was not good to watch. In all honesty, it was really, really bad. But once he came off the bench, it's almost like the weight has been lifted off his shoulder, and he actually produced. And it was doing what he was instructed to do: grab rebounds, help defense, score the ball, be aggressive. You don't often see that from Patrick Williams, but again, he was very inconsistent. But that award could go to the whole team if you really think about it. You could give it to Zach. He's inconsistent performances. DeMar has been struggling all season. Guys like Kobe White had up and down moments for the Chicago Bulls. You know, you're looking at the bench. It just could go to anyone, really. It could genuinely go to anybody, but I guess I had to pick one. My defensive player of the week, that's tough. Again, the Bulls kind of struggled on defense, in all honesty. I still think I'd give it to Alex Caruso. I just feel like Alex Caruso makes some massive stops, and the defense with Alex Caruso is very noticeable. There are certain things on defense you don't notice. Like, you know, when DeMar plays defense, no one really notices. When Vooch sometimes plays defense, no one really notices. With Alex Caruso, he makes an emphasis on making his defense known and present and viewable for the fans out there, I would say. So I noticed more about Alex Caruso's defensive stops than maybe everybody else's on the team. Now, that might be harsh to give an award to, because that might mean I'm missing out on somebody else, but I would give it to him. I think he's the one that stands out to me. My 6th man of the week overall, though, is Jevon Carter. I think Jevon Carter's been excellent this week. Really came into his own. He had 16.9 against Denver, but other than that, had a couple of double-digit games, good efficiency shooting-wise, finding his rhythm, finding his shots with this Bulls team, and they're going and they're falling. And I feel like, you know, if other guys stepped up with Jevon Carter having these types of performances, we would be probably having a positive record at the moment. Instead, we're talking about how bad the Chicago Bulls are and how Jevon Carter is stepping up in a team that doesn't step up. So that's extremely unfortunate. And then the player of the week for me is Nikola Vucevic. I think he's had very good games this week. Yes, he got clapped against Nikola Jokic. He got absolutely destroyed. But in terms of that game, he's the MVP, Nikola Jokic. He's an MVP caliber player. Some might say he should have won the MVP last season. At the end of the day, this is what he does. He's an excellent player, and everybody's going to get cooked by him. It's just as simple as that. So, other than that, I think he did very well in a lot of the games. I think Brooklyn was also a struggling point for him, but I do believe that's more of the Bulls' fault than Vucevic's fault. But I still think he's been the best player this week. So, there you go. We have 2 games to look forward to, ladies and gentlemen, in this upcoming week, at least for me. There is a game on Monday for me that will be on Sunday for you. So, you might think of it as 3 games. I'm only going to think of it as 2 games. So, let's start off. In a couple days' time, the Bulls are going to be back home at the United Center against the Utah Jazz. Larry Markkinen is coming to town, ladies and gentlemen. That's normally a game the Bulls fans will be excited about. Utah, energetic team, can run, can also can switch and stuff of that nature. Very hard team to stop. They're a little bit bigger than the Chicago Bulls, so that can pose a lot of threats for this Bulls team defensively. We'll see how that goes. But again, I'm not confident with that game. I'm not really confident with any of these games. And then the next game will be at the United Center a couple days' time after that one, and that will be against the Phoenix Suns. I don't know which Phoenix Suns are going to show up to the table. I don't know who's healthy and who's not healthy on that Phoenix Suns team. But a team constructed the way that Phoenix is, I feel like they've not had the best start to the season, but they're a threat. Kevin Durant, always a threat. Devin Booker cooks us every single time. I think last season he had 50 points against the Chicago Bulls. So he cooks us every single time. Kevin Durant's just going to make it easier for him to cook us. And then they've got Jusuf Nurkic on that team now. He always poses a threat for a guy like Vucevic. Those two have some good battles with each other. But I think Vucevic has gotten the edge there for the most part. But yeah, just overall a tough game for the Bulls there. And I don't know how that's going to fare as well. That looks like a threat for the Chicago Bulls. Honestly, maybe I'm down in the dumps, but I think the Bulls are going to go 0-2. I think they're going to lose both games. And I think we're really going to get to a point where Bulls fans will not stand watching this team. Let's wait and see. I could be wrong. But thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed Bulls Weekly, drop a like and a follow and or subscribe. I will see you in the next Chicago Bulls related video. Have a wonderful and safe day. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for more. Take care and peace.